Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Alias Secure AF podcast, the podcast about all things cybersecurity. I'm your host, Teddy Underkoffler. Today, I'm joined with Andrew Hickman, security team lead here at Alias.
Howdy.
And we are going to talk about SIEMs. So we're going to talk a little bit about what they are, what they can do, why people need them, and specifically why small businesses need them. Andrew, so if you wouldn't mind just kind of kicking it off, tell me a little bit about what exactly is a SIEM.
Yeah, so a SIEM, it stands for Security Information and Event Management. And basically it's a combination of your Security Information Management, SIM, and your Security Event Management, SEM. And really they provide real-time analysis of your security alerts generated by applications and your network hardware and endpoints. And so the SIEMs usually used by your security analysts to monitor any potential threats within the infrastructure for your organization or business. The main benefit that it provides is it centralizes your security and your event management into a singular location.
So it basically gives you eyes inside your entire network.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, very cool. Who would you say needs a SIEM? I imagine everyone with a network, right?
Yeah, anyone out there with a network that's putting themselves in an external facing position would be a good idea.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit more in depth, like why people necessarily need a SIEM? So obviously eyes in the network are great, but what would they be seeing that they need to see?
Well, a lot of the times is unless people are being really proactive within their own network and checking those security events, you may miss things.
Mm.
And so the nice thing about the centralization of both those things is that you have a centralized spot where you can go and look at all of it in real time. And if you have like a SOC team or someone that's monitoring that service 24/7, that's great. Mm-hmm. You're definitely going to get the full benefits of that. Some of these SIEM providers out there, though, they offer it's a fully managed option, so you wouldn't even necessarily have to be the person to go in and look at what's being reported. Someone who you would pay for a service where they would reach out to you in the event.
That sounds nice.
It is, yeah.
It sounds easy for businesses that maybe don't have like a fully fleshed out security team and they just know that they need something like this, right?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of companies out there that will partner with these SIEM providers, and they'll do what's considered like a co-managed option. And so we might have a SOC team that monitors it for a certain amount of time during the day, business hours, and then we have a whole nother team that might take over in the evening or in different periods of time. That way you have someone monitoring your network 24/7.
Literally 24/7.
24/7, yeah.
Even holidays, huh?
Even holidays, yep.
All right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tell me a little bit about why you think like small businesses would need a SIEM, right? Obviously, they're not immune to being targeted by hackers. There's definitely the still potential of being attacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So small businesses, they're just as much at risk to threat actors than large business. And for a big portion of it, they're probably a little easier to get to. And it really depends on the motives behind the threat actor, but it's not good either way. Mm-hmm. And when you look at these large companies that have the resources to kind of take that hit sometimes, you might say, and continue going, that's one thing. But small businesses probably, stand a chance of just going defunct or going under because of an event like that. And so if you look at, what's the value of my business versus, what is the cost of running this type of operation within my business? I think at the end of the day, you'll have a little bit of more peace of mind, utilizing a service like that, knowing that, hey, there's someone alerting and monitoring 24/7. And there's some places out there that will even monitor and manage your hardware for you from within your environment as part of the package. Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes perfect sense when you think about th- just the sheer cost of potentially being attacked and having to
Mm-hmm.
recover from it. I mean, who knows if you can recover from it,
Right.
especially if you're a smaller business.
And I
I
think that's
don't.
where the smaller businesses are going to take, it's a bigger risk for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a victim of some type of cyber attack or a threat actor, do you have the appropriate things in place to be able to recover from that? While that's being kind of reactionary, while
Mm-hmm.
you could be proactive about it and then have something like a SIM service in place to try to stop it,
Mm-hmm.
something like that from happening in the first place.
So, does a SIM actually prevent attacks as they're happening, or does it just allow you to see what's happening and see that you're being attacked?
So the SIM itself is more a centralization of the data.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like a SOC team that can respond to that and stop those attacks from happening, then yeah, you can. It'll help
Then
prevent
that
those
helps.
attacks,
Uh-huh.
and that kind of goes in hand. What I was talking about, like the co-managed versus like fully managed or
Mm-hmm.
unmanaged SIM services, is you can have a team that's there to respond and alert you, and then either you can take appropriate actions, your SOC team can take appropriate actions, or if you have the service for it, they can take appropriate actions depending on
Mm-hmm.
what's managed.
Okay. Um, and with those different hosted options,
Mhm.
how would somebody go about trying to determine which one would be best for them? Do you have any recommendations on that? Or does it just kind of come down to team structure, finances, budget?
I think all those things come into play.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to consider is, what's the size of your network and your environment that you're wanting to protect? Do you have like a SOC team? Do you have a security team in place already? Are you just a small business that, you're your own IT kind of thing? And so I think all those are important to take into consideration when you're looking for a SIM service.
And whenever you are looking for a SIM service, what are some things you should look for from your SIM provider?
Usability is great for us. There's nothing more frustrating than getting into UI and it's just a hot mess and
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to navigate. There's a lot of services out there that offer demos. You can schedule times to get with them and they'll walk you through stuff. So usability is great. Different functionalities between the SIMs as well. Some of them you can do active threat hunting within, which is nice for like a cybersecurity, organization.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Ease of setup is another important one if you're just like a small business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just good to do your research and kind of look around and see what kind of options are out there. If it's something you're definitely interested in, I would talk to a bunch of providers and figure out which one might work best for you.
Who are some providers that you might recommend?
So Overwatch is one that we have some familiarity and experience with. They're a great organization to work with. There's some other popular sims out there that I haven't had much hands-on, but things like Splunk and Elastic Stack and Logarithm are some other popular ones. Some of them might be a little more um, technical to
Mm-hmm.
use, and so it's good to have experienced team. Something like Splunk, you'd probably want someone who knows Splunk to be able to work with it.
Yeah.
While something like an Overwatch, it's pretty easy to get in and figure out how the reporting works. And, for some of the more advanced things like the threat hunting from within it, you'd probably want someone experienced doing that. But they're one of the SIM providers out there that you can do like a fully managed service with.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you wanted, hey, I want you guys to provide a firewall, I need help setting up endpoints, and I need you guys to monitor it for me 24/7. They would be an option.
They can do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So it sounds like ultimately when choosing a sim, it still ultimately depends on what your team structure is, what you want to take, what your appetite is. If you don't really have the team built out, you can go with a fully managed, fully monitored.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's really, I wouldn't say there's a one-size-fit-all option out there. There's some providers out there that will give you different options per, the size of your organization or company. So keep that in mind. and really just going out there and kind of doing some research and reaching out to these organizations or companies and asking questions and giving them, hey, this is what my setup looks like. What would you guys recommend?
Yeah.
And then just kind of getting demos of how their tools work and see which one would work best.
And now this feels like it might be an obvious question,
Mm-hmm.
but is there a minimum size requirement for a SIM tool?
There isn't.
Okay.
But you'd have to look into cost and cost effectiveness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just, a small, if it was just me, I'm not going to go buy a SIM for myself.
Sure.
I'm kind of the security team of my own laptop, but I don't really have much risk if just my laptop's attacked, right? I just lose some pictures.
Yeah.
But, a company where that's your livelihood, you've got to weigh that, the cost effectiveness or, this is how much this is going to cost versus, what's my livelihood worth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Awesome. Is there anything else about SIMs that I didn't ask you that you wanted to add?
No, I think we covered it pretty well there.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for being a guest. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Teddy.